Coming up, we see how Tzu Chi La Romana School in Dominican Republic helps its students fulfill their dreams. We'll learn more about Chushu, the 14th solar term, and ways to stay healthy during this period. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Helena. Thank you for joining us. The Tzu Chi Toronto branch in Canada has served the culturally diverse city of Toronto for more than 2 decades. To expand its services and better provide for those in need, the branch successfully purchased a new venue in May. We now join the moving-in ceremony.
More than 300 people have come together to celebrate the Tzu Chi Toronto branch's move to its new home, including the deputy mayor of the city, who wants to thank the volunteers for helping strengthen the city's communities.
You know, it's very important in a city that's growing rapidly and changing rapidly that there are organizations that are reaching out to the various communities and saying, we're here to help.
Tzu Chi volunteers have been servicing the city for more than 2 decades. They have visited hospitals, senior homes, and the homeless. Volunteers have also been invited to attend naturalization ceremonies where they pass out Jinsi aphorism booklets to newly naturalized citizens.
Many volunteers have long felt that due to the limited space of our office, we couldn't better service those in need. So we have been looking forward to this new spiritual home of ours.
I came here from Taiwan for more than a month now. I have participated in Tzu Chi activities back in Taiwan, so I decided to come back to Tzu Chi.
Oh, I think it's wonderful. There's so many improvements. A really good job you've done on the building. It's lovely.
What was formerly a Catholic church is now a Buddhist hall. Volunteers have made no structural change to the building and will continue to serve others in need, regardless of their ethnicity or faith.
After Hurricane George devastated the Dominican Republic in 1998, Tzu Chi Foundation first brought aid and later established school in year 2000. For the next 15 years, more than 1,000 students have received their education here, and the school has become a portal which helps students fulfill their dreams.
Although Leona cannot walk, he can still ride his tricycle. To demonstrate his commitment to learn, he is showing up for his graduation ceremony. The Tzu Chi Foundation has long dreamed of implementing its education mission in the Dominican Republic. It all started back in 1998, when volunteers first arrived to help the hurricane-battered Caribbean nation. By 2000, Tzu Chi La Romana School was established. Now, 15 years later, more than 1,000 students have graduated from here.
Everyone must always remember the selfless love and devotion that Tzu Chi volunteers have shown us.
205 graduates from the school's day program, evening program, and adult high school program, whose age range from 12 to 52, have all achieved their dream at the school.
Now that I have received my high school diploma, I plan to attend college in Spain. That's my plan for the future. I hope I can become an author in the future because I enjoy expressing myself through my writings. I like to sew a lot. I thought about studying up on the subject, but was turned away because I didn't have a high school diploma. But now I have one, so I can continue to pursue my dream.
The graduates each received a card with Jinsi aphorisms in Spanish as a gift of blessings from Tzu Chi volunteers, who want the graduates to know that they will always have a home here.
In this new digital world, young people in China have become more attached to personal electronics. The annual book fair held in Shanghai and the book festival held in Guangzhou aim to reverse this trend.
In the age of smart devices, face-to-face communication has become less common, as more people simply immerse themselves in the digital world. This year's Shanghai Book Fair aims to reverse this trend by encouraging people to read more.
In this bustling age, my husband and I hope to educate our daughter in such a way that she can obtain calmness of mind and meditate more.
Books such as 慈济近思 aphorisms were a top choice of parents at the fair. Some children even had favorite aphorisms.
A pure heart is immune from others' maligning. Be proper and sincere. Regardless of how others malign us, it gives us a chance to improve our characters even more. Some people want to make you feel bad on purpose, and when this happens, we should think about happy experiences even more.
Painters and calligraphers are also at the event to inspire humanistic reflection.
My favorite phrase is tolerant mind and pure heart. I believe this phrase will enable us to overcome all problems in life.
The world changes very fast, which creates uneasiness for many people. There are many problems and confusions as a result.
While at a book festival in Guangzhou, Jinsi Books and Cafe was there not only to promote books, but also prepare vegetarian meals as a way to advocate a new way of life.
In today's look on the petrochemical industry in Taiwan, we go back to that fateful day where 30 people lost their lives and more than 300 were injured because of a chain of explosions set up by a propellant leak. Although emergency response workers were called to the site 3 hours earlier, we find out why they couldn't prevent the disaster and how it could be prevented next time.
Tragedy struck just before midnight on July 31st. It was as if bombs were dropped on Kaohsiung. Sadly, the worst gas explosion accident in Taiwan's history was a man-made disaster. Before the first explosion, companies transporting the propylene already knew something was wrong. The supply of propylene was cut immediately, but after the crew on duty performed an improper inspection, which led them to believe that the rendering was just a glitch, the flammable substance continued to be sent.
The abnormal pressure means that there was a leak. You can't just check on both ends only. If a proper response SOP had been established, they would have known about the leak and prevented the disaster.
So liquid propylene was fed into the leaking pipe, where it then leaked out in large amounts.
It was estimated that about 10 tons of propylene were leaked. As it reverted to a gaseous form, its volume expanded by 1,000 times, completely covering the area's underground conduits.
Under normal environment conditions, propylene's natural state is gas. Above the ground, firefighters called to the scene to investigate had no idea what was happening below them.
As the flammable gas was underground, it was hard to investigate.
Before the clock struck midnight, 6 emergency response crews still looking for a methane leak perished as the explosions began.
When handling a case like this, the Economic Development Bureau should have been notified, as well as the Environment Protection Bureau or someone with the expertise in this area. Firefighters can only help maintain order.
In the wake of a series of industrial accidents, firefighters continue to face casualties, as Taiwan has yet to establish a chemical explosion response team.
Those who were first called to the scene, the firefighters and the toxic spill response crew, never thought to look for leaky propylene underground. They wasted hours looking in the wrong direction.
The tragedy also proved that the government cannot handle chemical accidents such as this, and that it is also unaware of the status of petrochemical pipelines buried beneath the ground.
This is the site of the first explosion. One of the pipes inside the cover was the one that leaked propylene, which led to the disaster. The power of the blast completely leveled this bedding store right across the street.
The tragedy was completely man-made. Pipelines should not run through drains as they are not made of stainless steel. They are bound to rust inside such an area.
People only realize their foolishness after a tragedy strikes. The pipelines should not have been inside a culvert.
Learning from this lesson, we must immediately inspect all sewers and drains to see if there are any petrochemical pipelines running through them.
Accidents like this tend to bring about a chance for reform, such as the Bhopal gas tragedy in 1984, where Union Carbide India leaked toxic gas that killed 25,000 people. The tragedy prompted the passing of the Emergency Planning and Community Right to Know Act of 1986 in the US, where a business has to disclose both to the government and public the chemicals it processes and the contingency plans in case of an accident. In Taiwan, information pertaining to petrochemical pipelines should be made available to the public, as people have a right to know.
Chushu is the 14th solar term of the year, which indicates that the hot summer is at its end. However, as the temperature differences between day and night will become more noticeable, members of the public should pay attention to preventing autumn dryness. Furthermore, farmers across the island have been harvesting their crops before the arrival of Chushu. Despite the scorching sun, farmers work tirelessly in the rice fields as Chushu is just around the corner. According to an old saying, if it rains during Chushu, farmers will have a bad harvest.
Chushu is a very important time for farmers because it is time for them to harvest their crops. There are a lot of typhoons or southwesterly flows during this period of time. Sometimes, farmers will lose everything due to unstable weather.
Over here in Jinshan, we have 30 hectares of rice fields. We can harvest about 3 to 4 hectares a day. The whole process will be completed in 2 weeks.
In northern Taiwan, rice is only harvested once a year. Facing frequent and unpredictable bouts of rain, farmers have to dry their crops right after harvest. The invention of the grain dryer has solved the problem of spoilage, which was often faced by farmers in days gone by. The heat generated inside the machine speeds up the drying process.
When the rice moisture content is about 30%, we need to dry it at about 60 degrees Celsius. After the moisture content has gone down to about 28%, we'll adjust the heat to 50 degrees Celsius. The drying process can be completed in 24 hours.
After drying, each grain of rice will be stored in storage. Although the arrival of Chushu marks the end of the summer heat, scorching hot weather is still very common.
During this month, the temperature is very comfortable, but scorching hot weather is still common. The hottest time of the day falls between 10 o'clock in the morning and 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That's why it is very hard for us to escape the heat.
According to a Taiwanese saying, Chushu is so hot that a mouse can die from heat stroke. The extreme weather can result in a typhoon with a southwesterly airstream, thus bringing torrential rains. As the Mid-Autumn Festival is just around the corner, it is also the time to harvest pomelo. However, for pomelo growers in Bali district of New Taipei City, the heavens are a fickle master.
If northwesterly winds strike, a lot of fruits will be damaged. Last year, about 30% of our harvest was destroyed.
The unstable weather during the month not only affects the quality of pomelo, but also the health of our bodies.
After Chushu, the number of southwesterly flows will reduce significantly, and the subtropical Pacific high-pressure front will affect Taiwan directly. During this period of time, the moisture content in air is about 40 to 50%, which is considered dry in Taiwan.
As the moisture content in air decreases significantly following Chushu, people should pay attention to preventing autumn dryness. For those with a cold body type, a bowl of winter melon soup with ginger and goji berries can balance the dryness in their bodies. radish also has the same effect.
In Chinese medicine, the lung is the organ associated with autumn, and people tend to develop dryness-related problems during this period. Some may even have a dry nose, mouth, skin, or a harsh cough.
As the changes in temperature between day and night during this month is considerable, a bowl of snow fungus sweet soup with lotus seeds can strengthen our qi and relax the mind. It is also important to make sure our belly is covered during the night to prevent getting a cold. Furthermore, for those with allergic rhinitis, it is best to avoid direct contact with cold air early in the morning.
The Yingxiang acupuncture point is very good for those with allergic rhinitis. The Zhanzhou acupuncture point, located at the front part of the eyebrow, the Chenqi acupuncture point, and the Tongzi acupuncture point can all provide relief from itchy eyes.
Massaging acupuncture points on the face is not only beneficial for the eyes and liver, but also can prevent an allergic from coming on. Furthermore, by massaging our stomach clockwise with warm hands, we can also keep our body warm. Overall, to balance the yin and yang of our bodies and stay healthy during this time of the year, members of the public should adopt a healthy lifestyle and exercise on a regular basis. Tzu Chi Foundation has long called on the public not to burn just paper and to adopt a vegetarian diet as a way to protect life and the planet. Malaysia Tzu Chi volunteers recently put on drama performances in Malacca, Penang, and Kuala consorts to advocate these ideas.
The Tzu Chi Foundation in Malacca has long advocated change in worship practices during the 7th lunar month. Today's short play performed by volunteers points out how Lunar July is actually seen by Buddhists.
I used to carry out big ceremonies and burn a lot of joss paper, but after adopting the Buddhist faith, I realized that such actions are not necessary and stopped them altogether last year.
I will save the money I used for joss paper and food offerings and donate it to the poor. There are still many people starving in this world.
Smartphone 第一个要抄啊，让你的祖先都跟上潮流。请你给我一张名片。名片，请多多指教。你干嘛？我拿去烧给我祖先啊，因为等下不会用啊，现在还带个东西东西坏了可以找你打电话找你对吗？
The play, performed by Penang Tzu Chi volunteers, takes a playful look at previously unquestioned superstitious beliefs.
We no longer use meat as offerings. I use fruits and vegetables this year, and also reduce my use of joss paper.
In Peras, Kwasa Kansa, local Chinese also stand shoulder to shoulder with Tzu Chi on the issue.
Incense smoke is not good for our health and may even cause cancer. We must make changes in this age.
For the good of the earth, a revolution in worship appears to have been started here in Malaysia.
The Tzu Chi Foundation receives donations from many generous people around the world to fund its disaster relief efforts. In Jakarta, Indonesia, Tzu Chi volunteers have been encouraging students of Trisakti University to do good deeds for 2 years. While in Tangerang, Tzu Chi volunteers have also been encouraging pupils to donate money to their bamboo coin banks to help others.
Children show their excitement at this chance to help others.
We teach children at a young age that by collecting spare change, one day they will be able to accumulate enough to help others.
The result of the volunteers' efforts can be seen at Atisa di Pankara, where children of all ages line up with their bamboo coin banks.
Bambu itu jadi ini kayak
Every day, we place a bit of money in our bamboo coin bank. With enough time, we will be able to help others.
We're young and don't have the ability to give a lot, but we want to give our spare change to the Tzu Chi volunteers to be used for good.
Tzu Chi volunteers also took the opportunity to visit the campus of Trisakti University in Jakarta to encourage the students there to save money for charity.
With the start of this new semester, we want to encourage students to show more love and help others through bamboo coin banks.
I like this approach very much. With our bamboo coin banks, we're able to help the poor and the sick.
In fact, Tzu Chi volunteers started a Perform a Good Deed a Day program last year, with one of the school's professors even bringing back that concept to share with her children.
My children were brought up in a comfortable environment, but now they've learned how to share their good fortune with others. I think this is good for them.
Currently at Trisakti University, 840 college students have adopted bamboo coin banks that's doing their part for the betterment of society.
The Hong Kong Bayanihan Trust is a non-profit organization that helps foreign workers. It hosts community events that inform the workers benefits that may be available to them with other important information. Recently, the trust invited Tzu Chi volunteers to share how Filipino workers can donate to help their fellow countrymen whose lives were devastated by Typhoon Haiyan, and also how to protect the planet by practicing environmental conservation.
Watching news footage of how Typhoon Haiyan devastated the Philippines, Filipinos working in Hong Kong get choked up.
Watching there in the big screen, it was so what's this? Heart-sickening to see those people suffering that catastrophe.
Tzu Chi volunteers arrive at the Hong Kong Bayanihan Trust Center to bond with their Filipino friends.
Every day you put in 50, $1, doesn't really matter. Okay, it's really the gesture that counts and the total, okay, that we consolidated, okay. I will make sure that I personally will bring it to the Philippines, okay, and to share with the Philippines.
The center invited the volunteers to promote conservation. Upon hearing how birds die from mistakenly ingesting trash, the foreign laborers are shocked.
The birds eating those things, right? Yeah, I see. The stomach is full of plastics, toxins, right? Yeah, and also if you are in the beach, you don't have to throw things because they will go to the ocean, pollute the water, yeah, and then they'll come back.
Tzu Chi gave us a wider perspective of doing recycling, which we have always tried to find here in Hong Kong. It has to start from the heart.
Thanks to the volunteers, these Filipinos in Hong Kong will start practicing conservation and giving to charity.
We go to Indonesia, Jakarta at the end of the show, besides educating the public on the correct way to mark the 7th lunar month. Tzu Chi volunteers also took the chance to promote Tzu Chi's instant rice by making delicious Indonesian dishes. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.